Hello guys, good morning. I hope that your day is carrying on well. My name is Ahmed Khalif. Yeah, so I just anticipate that we are going to have some podcast here and analyzation to just talk a few issues with regards to what happened in Kenya for the past 2 weeks. There was a finance bill that was being proposed for the budget year 2024-2025, and it was vehemently rejected by the Kenyan nationals, and that was shown by the Kenyan youth who took onto the streets. In accordance with the constitution, they were practicing their right. But what came of it? We saw so many young people lose their lives because the police who used live bullets on them. Even before it went for the first reading, second reading, and third reading, we saw that the police were using extreme force. And even the members of parliament who actually were told by their constituents, hey, this bill ain't gonna be good for us. Kindly don't vote yes for it. Unfortunately, unfortunately, so many of the MPs who are most aligned to the Kenyan government, that is the UDM, went ahead and voted yes. And the aftermath, we saw some of their property. We saw some of their property being looted. We saw some of their houses being burnt. We saw there was a lot of rampage within the nation. So today, after seeing what transpired within these 2 weeks, yesterday people also took to the streets. They wanted to occupy the State House because they have no confidence in the president, and they feel like the president is trying to, manipulate or trying to impose onto them what the IMF and the World Bank is giving them. As you know, the president, he clinched onto power when he promised the youths, he promised the people who are living below average life, whom we call the hustlers, yani kwa lugha ya Kiswahili wanaita mama mboga. So he promised them that I'm not gonna hike taxes. All I'm gonna do is to make sure you have the much better life. I don't know if I'm seeing in the right place according to the camera. Rise. I'm told now I'm okay. Nice. He promised a lot of so many things that people thought he would deliver. Unfortunately, that was not the case. So when he and his team passed the 2023 finance bill, people expected that there could be a lot of developments within the nation. Unfortunately, there has been a lot of looting. Now, today's podcast, I want to talk about the caption that says, Miguna Miguna is the president Kenya needs. You might not necessarily want him, but truth be told, that is the person that you really need as a Kenyan. Because, if you are a prayerful person, you'll understand that most of the time you'll be given what you need, not what you want. So I'm speaking this from what I've seen Miguna Miguna portray in the past, and I believe this is purely my thought. So don't take that I'm being coerced by anybody. I'm not sponsored by anybody to talk about this. This is purely my review. So, guys, this is what I have seen. Remember, Miguna Miguna has been on the forefront of fighting government that of the day which oppresses other people. We saw him as he fought Uhuru Kenyatta for doing what he was doing until he was deported to Canada. And quote unquote, with him, he wasn't saying that he was deported. Actually, it's like he was thrown out of his country, because you only deport someone who is not a citizen of that country. Unfortunately, they did that to Miguna Miguna. And remember, Miguna is somebody who has been born in Kenya, he's been bred in Kenya, and most of the things is done in Kenya. So he's a native citizen. His citizenship is not acquired, or he's not an alien or a foreigner. This is his country. He's the national of Kenya. And so the mistreatment that the Uhuru Kenyatta administration did to him. Uhuru Kenyatta is the former president of Kenya. So you could see now, even when Uhuru Kenyatta now did what we call handshake with Raila Odinga. Yeah. Now the rift between him and his deputy president, who was then William Samoei Ruto, who is the current president of Kenya. So, and we can remember during the campaigns of Uhuru Kenyatta, he promised Kenyans, and the campaign was kumi za Kenyatta, alafu ngapi? Kumi zake William Samoei Ruto. So after the first term, the second term, so it was thought that he will return the favor by voting in or helping campaign for William Ruto. Unfortunately, that was not the case. We saw Uhuru Kenyatta was vehemently at the forefront of fighting for the then opposition leader, Raila Amolo Odinga, yeah, in the camp of Azimio. In the camp of Azimio. So that is what I'm being told that my sound is kind of. I'm being told that my sound is not okay. I believe now it could be okay. Let me try to get it, because I'm streaming by myself. I have no team around. So guys, you'll bear with me. You'll bear with me as I continue with the review. So kindly bear with me. No, my sound is okay. My sound is okay. My sound is okay. I think the person on the other end is the person who is not getting it clearly. Yes, the sound is totally okay. I've just confirmed from my end. So I was in the point whereby Uhuru Kenyatta vehemently campaigned for the then opposition leader Raila Amolo Odinga for the presidency. The Mount Kenya, which is the place, or I could say the stronghold for the then president, decided like, hey guys, see, we made a promise to William Samoei Ruto. We made a promise that 10 years your term, then 10 years his term. So it is in good taste that we do what? We vote for him. And that is what exactly happened. And William Ruto was coming up as a person who was oppressed by the state, as somebody who was being mistreated by the states. You can remember even at this time that William Ruto wanted to travel to Uganda, and he was not able to. And that is the deputy president holding the highest office. You know, the then CS of in internal security, that was Dr. Fred Matiang'i. Yeah, he used forces to make sure that Ruto and his allies faced a very tough time, you know. So it went through that. Ruto was campaigned in the instance that he would make life bearable for the common mwananchi, because life was becoming so unbearable. You can remember this point in time where flour prices, the prices of almost every essential commodity was rising. Yeah, the taxes for every basic commodity was rising up, and it reached a point whereby people hadn't any faith with Uhuru Kenyatta's government. So let me just answer this person. Is telling me my sound, it is from his end, because from my end sound is completely okay. So it happened for a while. Yeah, it happened for a while until now. We went to election. Ruto was elected. Now, this is the funny thing. They said they will not allow what we call a Nusumkate government, power sharing government, because they did see some systematic character for the then opposition leader Raila Amolo Odinga, because during Kibaki time, he said that his votes were stolen. Then there was the Nusumkate government, yeah, the coalition government. You all remember it. Then it came Uhuru Kenyatta's time. He also claimed the same, that my votes have been stolen. At the end of the day, there was what we call the handshake. So on this government, Ruto promised that there is nothing like handshake, and his then running mate Rigathi Gachagua, who is now the deputy president, said there is nothing like Nusumkate, and shall William Ruto try to bring a Nusumkate government, he, as the deputy president, he will not sit down and allow that to happen. Yeah. So they promised people a lot of so many things, a lot of so many good stuffs through listening. So all people wanted was now being put into action now that they were voted in. It came a time. It came a time. Now he was the president. He was sworn in. The first thing he did after being sworn in is to give Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the former president, a peacekeeping mission in that area. On one hand, they were crying that this government looted everything. The accounts for the treasury were completely in shambles. It was totally down. It was completely down. There was nothing left to drive the country. So he justifies the ways and the means that he's going to use to drive the government. You can remember the economy became so tough. You know, at that time, dollar went up to around 160 something, you know. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. And he said, like, hey, guys, I'm working this out. I'm working this out. Yeah. And it is at that moment that even brought this idea of Pan-Africanism. Remember, in South Africa, in France, as he was telling off the West into their faces, yeah, let Africa be Africa. Africa is Africa's business. You know, all that kind of stuff. The good things that we want to listen to. Then along the way, you know, things just became worse. Okay. At a certain point, you know, the prices of these commodities began dropping gradually, you know. And people were like, wow, actually, you know, he's delivering. Let us give him time. What we didn't know, he was having some calculations. Now, this is why I'm telling you, you as Kenyans, Miguna Miguna is the president that you need. Why? Remember this person, even after he didn't manage to become the Nairobi governor, the then governor, Mike Mbuvi Sonko, whenever in good terms with his then deputy was Paminas. And he decided that, hey, I want Miguna Miguna to come and deputize me and become the deputy governor of Nairobi. Miguna Miguna turned it down, turned it completely down, you know. So this is a man who is very principled. And at a certain point, he even asked William Samoei Ruto, hey, how dare you claim that you find the treasury in a very bad condition, yet the people who made sure that happened are still working freely? Why haven't they been charged in the court of law? Why hasn't justice been offered? Yeah. So, I know some of you may not agree with me. Some of you might not be in the same line as I am, in the same thinking line, but you are right to differ with me in terms of ideology, in terms of what I am saying. But at the end of the day, let us be honest. Kenya needs somebody who cannot be compromised, somebody who cannot change his principles depending on time, depending on where he is, depending on the situation. And this is what Nelson Mandela once said, that you can never say you're a principled man if your principles keep changing. You meet Ahmed, your principle changes according to whom you are dealing with, you know. So that can never happen. That is not the right way to go. So that is why Kenyans, you had an opportunity. Let me tell you the truth. Kenyans had an opportunity these 2 weeks to make sure that they change their governance. Unfortunately, there are people who never saw that as a good call. The youths, the Generation Z and millennials, I salute you. I salute you completely. I salute you. There are things you people are seeing that your parents, that your grandparents are not seeing. You can see far and beyond. And it is difficult for them to just, come to terms with that. It is difficult for them to dogo tu samahani. It is difficult for them to come to terms with what is really happening, because they are of the old times where fear was reigning, where people feared the government, where people feared the police, where people even feared the disciplined forces. By then, we couldn't call them disciplined forces because we all know how they used to treat their citizens. It was a system of dictatorship. And if Kenyans are not keen, that is where Ruto will take you. Look, the nation of Uganda. Uganda right now, you cannot say anything. It's a system of dictatorship. As a citizen, yes, there's a constitution. You know, it is one thing having a constitution that permits you to do something, and it is one thing being able to follow the constitution. So, most governments in Africa are so oppressive such that whatever they put on paper is so nice. Is so nice. Actually, we do say this. It's not that we lack laws, we have laws. The only thing that we lack is implementation. Implementation is our problem. We can make good laws, and we have good laws in Kenya. We have good laws. But what is happening? Implementation. So, we only need a person who will make sure that these laws are followed to the letter. These laws are adhered to by each and every person. Because what we expect, for instance, is for the president, who is William Ruto, to prosecute, because somebody is responsible. If the treasury has been looted and nothing is there, somebody has to be responsible. Someone has to be responsible. We cannot lie to each other. Someone has to be responsible. Yeah, somebody has to be responsible. And that person should also bring other people whom they participated in that game of corruption. Yeah. But now look, even in terms of the CSs, the ministers, I mean, the government, almost 80% of the government is from people with dirty lenience, dirty garments. Their past is so horrific. And to date, their reputation is, mutilated. They have no reputation, so to say. They have no reputation. I could say that. I'm sorry. And these are the people whom you expect to bring justice unto you. It doesn't happen that way. And we don't believe that. We don't believe that. So that is why I tell you, Miguna Miguna is the president that Kenya needs. Let us be sincere with each other. Let us be sincere with each other. That is the president that Kenya needs. If you have any comment, kindly go to our comment section. If you are watching from Facebook, kindly comment. What do you think? What do you think? Are you in agreement with me, or do you disagree with me? Write down in the comment section if you're watching from Facebook. If you're watching from YouTube, kindly also give us your comment. So you would also find it deemed to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you press the notification button, so anytime that we are live or we upload any content, you become the very first person to view it or to get it. So guys, my name is Ahmad Khalif, for those who don't know me, and today we are just talking about the president that Kenya needs. I want to go through the comments. Unfortunately, I'm seeing none. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? You as a Kenyan, what are the pertinent issues that you feel should be addressed? Because we've seen so much deception from our leaders. We've seen so much lies coming from them. Somebody says this, yet he means another thing. Somebody pretends to be helping on this other side, and on the other side he's oppressing. It's like you are giving me with one hand, and on the other hand you are working so hard to take it from me. Because guys, remember, how can somebody tell you that I have withdrawn that finance bill after it has passed the first reading, second reading, third reading? Where was he to even on the first place tell these people, hey, this bill is wrong for the people of Kenya. The people of Kenya are still not ready for this. As it was being drafted, where was he? That is why we strongly believe that this was a makeshift plan for IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and also the World Bank. Because remember, as you take somebody's debt, you should also tell them the plan that you have for payment. What payment? Like if you come to me and ask me for a loan, let's say 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, and that is the kind of business I am in, I will tell you, okay, what is the goodwill that shows you qualify for this loan? Then you tell me, okay, this is my logbook, I have a title deed, okay, I have these, these are my assets. So I'd say, okay, I can see you qualify for the loan. So I'll give you this 100,000. But then, what is your payment plan? So he says, okay, every month I'll be paying, 5,000. Every month I'll be making a commitment of paying 5,000. And after, let's say like 20 months, that loan shall have been cleared, with whatever interest it is. Now, this is the president. He'll go to IMF, or IMF calls him and tells him, you still owe us. You have our debt. You owe us our debt. You owe us like 2 trillion. But still, they tell you, hey, you owe us 2 trillion anyway, don't worry. We can also add you more, we can see you still qualify for another 1 billion, You still qualify. So they are making you go deep and deep into this debt, the debt hole. You're getting deep in it. So finally, they ask you, right? You owe us. We still give you more money. So what plan do you have? What plan do you have in order for you to pay these debt? Like, I run a country, there are taxes, I'll increase taxes. Then they also suggest some for you, like do this, do this, do this, do this. So essentially, it is them drafting that bill for you as a country. And as a president who might not be able to see far and beyond, for a president who is so myopic, then agrees into now such a bill that was drafted, the Finance Bill 2024. Now that is what happened. And it's like you are forced to pass it, because if you don't, you'll not be able to pay the debt. So it's like you are forced like by, and you see, literally, if you're unable to pay my loan and I have your title deed, I own the land. Legally, I'll own your land. If you have what we call the logbook for a vehicle, you are unable to pay my debt, I hold your logbook. So eventually, I own your vehicle. So what happens in this case? It means our lands will be belonging to the West, the IMF and the World Bank. They want to own the world. They want to own the world. And that is where they are heading to. So let us open our eyes. Guys, I'm still waiting for your comments. Tell me what you think. Because I just wanted to run these for 30 minutes. I think I have ran for more than that. But I don't want to end the podcast before I get your comments. What's your comments on this? Kindly share your comments. Kindly share your thoughts. I'll read them, and that is what I want to read before I am out of here. Kindly share your views and comments, so that I be able to also host your opinions. Because, I might be wrong, I might be right. I'm a human being. And I want to put a disclaimer that this video is not sponsored, It is purely my making. It is purely my idea. It is purely my thoughts. So kindly share your views and comments. I'll be able to, get to them. And any questions that you have, the ones that I'm able to respond to, I'll respond to. The ones that I'm unable to respond to, then maybe next time in my next live, I'll be able to respond to. Yeah. So what do you think? Because personally, I have seen and the kind of issues Miguna Miguna talks about, the kind of where he debates, this is a person who can save the country. This takes me back to Tanzania. The late John Pombe Magufuli. May his soul continue resting in peace. This was a people's choice. This was the president Africa needed. This was the president Africa and Tanzanians needed. And it's not a lie. We all could see the steps, the giant steps that Magufuli made in Tanzania. Unfortunately, he's no more. Either it is true that he demised, his demise was from natural causes, or he was killed by the West, but I strongly believe that he was killed by the West because he made sure that Tanzania could move even without taking loans, without support from the West, and he made that a possibility. And guys, we saw Tanzania grow, we saw the GDP grow, we saw the economy grow. So you cannot tell us by imposing more taxes a country will develop. If anything, expanding the tax base uh, will only scare investors. Will only scare investors. Why don't we have accommodative taxes that can attract investors? And you just have one law. Make sure that every investor coming in the country, 80% of the people working in that institution or those companies are from, let's say if it is Kenya, make sure that 80% of the people who are employed there are Kenyans, so that you also give them source of livelihood, a means of making sure they get their basic needs. So I will say that for the past 2 years, my review with William Ruto is that he has failed generally. There are areas which he has excelled, but a good number, most parts of it, he's failed within the 2 years. Now, imagine if we allow this to go on for 5 years. If we go on for 5 years, what will happen? Oh, I fear for Kenya. I fear for Kenya. How I wish everyone watching this will open their eyes and see and get to understand that freedom is not free. Freedom has never been free. Let us not lie to each other. Freedom has never been free. And I've been saying this time and again. For a seed to germinate, the ground has to break. For you to eat that meat, you have to slaughter that animal. For you to have some eggs, you have to break the shell. So essentially, something has to break for a success to come. Freedom is expensive, but if you are willing to pay the price, then shall you be able to enjoy the fruits of freedom. Okay, I can see there are no comments. So guys, thank you so much for watching from wherever you are watching from. Kindly make sure you subscribe if you are watching from YouTube. Make sure you also press the notification button, so anytime that we are live, you'll be the very first one to be notified. For everyone who is also watching from Facebook, kindly follow us, share our videos, like, comment, and again, that will be so advantageous to us and our community as a Dab Radio family. Also in TikTok, we also have snippets. You can also go there and watch our snippets and follow us there too. My name is Ahmed Khalif for the Unscripted Talks. Thank you so much for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.